Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well this morning. I don't really know how to start this video, so I'm just going to start talking. Originally I had planned to do a comparison video of old Tumblr posts that I made, comparing them to new journal entries to kind of see the differences of where I was in the past versus where I am now. And as I was going through my Tumblr and like seeing all these posts and collecting screenshots, like all of my trauma came up. So this is going to be a slightly different video. It's going to be kind of heavy, so just a forewarning if you need to pause or if it's triggering in any type of way, just to take a break from the video. As much as I talk about spiritual love and happiness, I also wanted to talk about kind of the other side, the shadow side, and all the hard work that I put into myself in order to live life the way that I want to live. It's just two sides to the same coin. So just to dive right in, here are a few screenshots from my Tumblr. I would call this like my level 1 shadow side, and also my computer is right here, so I'm just going to read some of them out loud to you. Laughing at how stupid and naive I am. Also, it's a good feeling no one misses you and that you have nothing to go back home to. You think your life is bad? You don't even know the mental and emotional hell that I personally live in. How fucked up I am doesn't even compare to how bad your life is. I hate my life, I want to go home, and I want to die. These are all just negative self-talk. This is how I used to speak to myself every day. I was speaking to myself like this from ages like 15, 16 to around 21, 22, before the habit started to be broken. Honestly, I don't even recognize this person anymore. Generally, when I like look back on my Tumblr, I'll see these posts and I'll just be like, oh my God, and kind of like chuckle a little, like, I don't even know what that person was going through, and I can't like identify with that person anymore. So I'm very lucky to have been growing my self-love over these past 5 years. I'm 26 now. So it's been a lot of work, but I don't do negative self-talk at all anymore. I don't even like it when people around me talk negatively or talk in a way like this about themselves. It's just so toxic and destructive and sets you up for a negative reality and falling into a false reality of unworthiness. So next we have my level 2 posts, which again, just gonna read out loud. It's like no matter where I go, I can't escape what I'm trying to avoid. I don't really know what's going on with me. Why am I so unhappy? I'm starting to actually worry about myself. I need to change something, but I don't really want to. So I thought these posts were interesting because I know in the past I was operating on autopilot. I was very unconscious, but these posts signify to me that I knew that there was something wrong with the way that I was feeling and how I wasn't supposed to be living life so unhappily, and that somewhere inside of me I knew that there was some type of disconnect going on and that this just wasn't right. These posts also make me feel so much compassion for my younger self because they were so lost and they had no idea what to do and where to turn to or how to even start a healing journey in any type of way. And so that just breeds so much compassion for myself, and just knowing that I was already seeking love in some type of way without even realizing it. So next we have my level 3 posts. This one is going through my old posts and I feel like such an idiot about everything, every single thing. I'm so stupid, I don't understand how stupid I could be. I have an intelligence deficiency. I am honestly one of the dumbest people I know. I can't even fathom how stupid I am. It's incredible. The next one is, why am I so fucking sad? Why can't I just be happy? Why can't people just want me around? Why can't people just be drawn to me? Why can't I meet someone who wants to be my friend? Why do the things that I want the most seem to completely avoid my life? This is like my level 3 shadow side. Whereas now I'm able to look back on these posts and have compassion for myself. Back then, when I was looking at these posts, I didn't even have an ounce of compassion. I would look back on these posts and make it even worse for myself and demean myself even further for being stuck in habits and cycles that created my life at the time. In that first post, you can see how I was so stuck in the habit that I was going down that negative self-talk almost to the point where I was trying to annihilate any sense of smartness or intelligence that I had. I just like kept going in and in and in and almost tried to obliterate any type of self-worth on my intellect in that post. The other post starts to hint at my deepest level of pain, which surrounds friendships and relationships. So it's just kind of like an inkling starting to get down into the depths of the shadow. So next are my level 4 posts. My life is so shit compared to yours. I feel like shit, and I feel humiliated, and I feel embarrassed, and like I am embarrassing. And honestly, I'm just waiting for you to do something that confirms that, and bitch is annoying still. I don't want to be friends with them, but I do. Why can't I meet someone who I really want to be friends with, who also really wants to be friends with me? So fucking stupid, but you know I'm never going to be happy. Which is true, I'm not like just saying this, it's a fact, and you know why. So I just need to accept it. I hate being me. The next one is, so why is there a part of me that wants to tell them all to fuck off and never see them again, and a part of me that never wants to leave their side and be their best friend? Something is wrong with me, LOL. So in these posts, we really start to see the expression of my pain surrounding friendships and relationships. Sorry, I'm just staring at these posts. I'm just like, wow. I'm able to recognize that there is something wrong with me, but I'm unable to name it. And like the feelings there are just so incredibly heavy. And it's basically me giving up hope and resigning to the fact that I'm always going to hate myself when it comes to connection with others. And so this next post is the one that I didn't want to share. When I was going through my Tumblr, I avoided this post completely. I was just like, oh, I don't need to share that. Like, it's fine. Like, I thought that the other posts were going to be so satisfactory for everyone. Like, yeah, he used to hate himself. Cool. Like, we can move on now. And then I realized what I was doing and by avoiding this post. And the whole point of me creating this channel was to be honest and to be authentic. So here is the post. Why do I always melt down with people? Like, I literally cannot handle when someone doesn't meet whatever expectation I have for them, or if they choose someone over me, or if I'm not priority number one. That has been my reaction since I was a kid. I can literally call a specific time in elementary school when I was sad after I heard my brother and my best friend talking about me with the door closed. I hid it in my house for 2 hours because I didn't want to see them. And at the same time, while I'm sad/mad, I just want the other person to talk to me and to acknowledge me and talk to me or send me a text or call me or come after me. Why do I do this? I always do this. I think whenever I pick friends, I'm claiming them. They're my friend. I chose them. They are devoted to me. Sometimes I feel like this is how I act towards my friends. I am loyal. I am the one sending the text or making things better or hoping they don't hate me, or just trying any way to make it better and to get back to the happy equilibrium. As I read this post, everything started to really come together and click for me. And that this is my worst behavior that I have. It is the worst thing that I do. It is my worst habitual behavior. These meltdowns that I'm talking about in this post are absolutely insane. When I have these meltdowns, on the exterior, I am completely despondent. I am completely unresponsive. you cannot make eye contact with me. And then what happens in my head while I'm acting that way on the outside, in my head, when I'm having this meltdown, I just try and kill myself. I try and absolutely destroy myself in my head. I beat the absolute shit out of myself in my head. I go in and I go in and I go in and I can't stop, and I go down, down, down this massive hole to where I no longer exist. It's just a cycle of me telling myself how worthless I am, how useless I am, how I will never be loved, how I will never love anything. And it's just like such an intense beatdown that I try and eliminate my own existence in my head. It's like, it's so far beyond like just being in my head or overthinking. It's like literally me taking a stick and just whacking my entire body and trying to destroy myself completely and anything that I know, and just create an utter wasteland inside of me. And then as I'm doing this, on my exterior, I put up the most unscalable wall that no one can get into, effectively trapping myself in this prison of torture inside of my own head. Before making this video, I thought that these meltdowns were just who I was because I've been having them / doing them for so long. I thought this is just, something that I do. It's just a part of who I am. I can't really do anything to change this. I kind of just have to deal with my behavior and suffer through it. I've been raising my awareness and raising my consciousness, and going through these posts, I realized how connected this behavior is to my negative childhood memories. I have a memory from my childhood with my mom where I'm not exactly sure what I was doing, but I remember that I was in the bathroom with my mom and she was yelling at me, and I must have been doing something girly. And I remember her saying like, "Is this what you want to be? You want to be a girl? You want me to dress you like a girl? You want to wear girl clothes?" Or things along that line. And I just remember like my head was hanging low in shame, and I was just shaking my head no, and I was just crying. And for me, that memory has come up for me years ago in the past, and I've kind of already confronted that memory. And I thought that that memory was linked to my aversion towards feminine things, which it is. But I'm now seeing how that memory also feeds this worst behavior of mine, this meltdown behavior, in that I was being shut down in that moment, and I wasn't being allowed to exist as I was in that moment. I also have a memory of my father, who was my Catholic Sunday school teacher. I remember being in the class and he was teaching, and the only line I remember is him saying, "It's not a sin to be gay, but it is a sin to act out those feelings." And again, that's a memory of mine where I am being shut down, where I am being told that I am not allowed to exist. And, that memory also feeds this meltdown behavior. I have 2 older brothers, and when we were children, they would physically beat me up a lot. And I don't really remember like any physical pain on my body. I just remember that it happened a lot, and I remember more of like the consequences that happened to them more than like what was actually happening to me. And the other day, 3 days ago, I was meditating as I was going through these Tumblr posts, and all of these connections were coming to my head. And when I was meditating, I started to imagine my body, and I imagined my body completely black and blue and covered in bruises, and like my body was bleeding everywhere, and I was all just had the shit beaten out of me. And I realized that even though the violence from my brothers ended at some point, I just continued the violence against myself in my own head with these meltdowns and with this behavior, and just went and beat the shit out of myself all the time. And that's what I do. And that's just like a behavior of mine, to beat the shit out of myself, to absolutely tear myself apart and to leave nothing behind and to destroy my existence. And it's just so crazy because I have been doing this behavior for like 15 years now. That Tumblr post that I made that post 5 years ago. And it's so interesting because now I realize that that moment in that post where I'm talking about from my childhood, where I remember hearing my brother and my best friend talk about me, I remember I left the room, and then when I was coming back, it was one of those moments where my hand was like hovering above the door, and then I heard them talking about me. I heard them saying that something like, oh, he's too sensitive, or he's always like complaining, or like very whiny, or something like that. And I just remember removing my hand from the door and going to the other room and just sitting there and being completely despondent. And I had like a broom in my hand, and I was just sitting there and pushing it back and forth. And I realized that that is the first time I had my meltdown behavior, when I was in elementary school. And for the past 15 years, I can just see how that first behavior grew and grew and grew, and I made it worse and worse and worse and worse, until to where it is today, to where I just try and annihilate myself in my own head. And I just have been wailing on myself for 15 years. And the abuser in my head has just gotten louder and louder and louder. And every time that the abuser in my head comes out, I just completely shut down. And it's just awful. It's just awful. It's so awful. And then I can see how all of these other hateful behaviors, like in my level 1 posts, those are all just little snippets of this meltdown behavior, and that I created a foundation of hate, that meltdown behavior, and it just seeps out in many different behavioral forms until it gets to this point where I just have a meltdown and I just fall into this cycle, this habitual behavior, and try and kill myself in my head. Just to clarify, like, I just came to this realization 3 days ago. Like, I was making a completely different video, and then all of a sudden I just realized what has really been going on and how I am just engaged in this behavior that doesn't need to exist anymore. So I can look back and see like all the different times that I've had these meltdowns with people. I do it really bad in friendships, but it is particularly bad whenever it involves a man that I am romantically interested in. These connections that I make, whether they're platonic or romantic, all have the possibility for love to exist between me and another person, whatever form that's taking. And if I feel rejected or unaccepted or just not seen in some type of way, I fall into this behavior where I try to destroy myself. And I realized it's a survival behavior. I shut myself down in order to keep myself alive. Because when you don't have love, you don't have a reason to live. And it's just so twisted to think that by trying to kill myself in my head, trying to like destroy myself, that is somehow going to keep me alive. To eliminate my existence and who I am is allowing myself to exist in this world, when it's like just doing the complete exact opposite. So I'm going to read this quote from the Holistic Psychologist, which if you don't follow her, you need to. It says, when you're unconscious, life is lived on autopilot. You operate as a habit. Thinking the same thoughts will create the same behaviors, which creates the same cycles many call life. Becoming consciously aware allows you to be an active participant in life. Rather than existing, you are creating. Today is Friday. I had this realization on Tuesday. I was engaging in this meltdown behavior on Monday. So having this realization it's been pretty rough. It's been a very rough week. I called out of work on Tuesday, the day that I was like making all these connections, because I was just sobbing all day because I couldn't believe how insane my behavior has been and how awful I've been treating myself, and for as much as I love my life and how much I love myself, that I'm still doing this, and that it hasn't just like gone away suddenly or magically from all the self-love that I've been working on and been creating, but it's still there, and it's because it's rooted in my habits. It's a habitual behavior. And this realization is so intertwined with my A Year to Live practice, because I desire to live life so fully, and when I engage in this behavior, it's the exact opposite of living life fully. So it only makes sense that, if I'm working so hard to live life to the fullest extent, that when I engage in a behavior that is not serving that purpose, it's all going to come out. It's all going to come up. So it makes sense to me that it took this long for me to realize what I was doing and how I'm engaging with myself, because I'm finally focusing on spirituality and building that deep connection with myself. So now I'm coming into the point okay, wow, big realization, very good, super intense, probably the heaviest thing that I've ever dealt with, and the heaviest thing that I've ever shared. I've never shared this with anyone before. So now I'm at the point, it's okay, where do I go from here? I have 15 years of reinforcement on this catastrophic behavior. What do I do now? What is my next step? This behavior is so ingrained into me. It's just boom, boom, you fall right into it. How do I stop doing that? And I don't really have a total answer, and I'm kind of just following where my intuition is guiding me. And I know that the first step is just to name it and to put it out there and to talk about it and to let people know what I'm going through. And the next step is just practice. I am going to have to rebuild my behaviors and rebuild my habits, because this is what I've known to do for the past 15 years, and it's going to take a lot of work to undo those habits and to also create new habits. Coming up with mantras and affirmations that reaffirm my existence and allow for new behaviors to be created. To know that I deserve to exist without a reason, and that I am inherently valuable just because I am here. That I have no reason to be violent with myself anymore. That there is no need for the abuser in my head to get any louder than it already is, and that I am allowed to start to quiet that voice and to not listen to that voice and to not fall into that behavior. That I am not the behavior that I have known and executed for all of these years. That it was a survival habit, a survival behavior. That is not me. That is not who I want to be anymore. To me, it's just it's so amazing to me that I was able to even make this connection for myself and to realize what I was doing, and to know that I am going to have a completely different life from now on, because I no longer want to abuse myself, and my life isn't going to be filled with me kicking the shit out of me. And I know that there's going to be days where it feels like a setback, or I fall back into the behavior, or it just pops up here and there. But to also start breeding that compassion for myself, to say that it's okay, that I am engaging in this behavior again because it's all I've known. But now I'm safe and I don't have to engage in this behavior anymore. And just to bring in self-compassion and to allow myself to have slip-ups if I have slip-ups, and to not criticize myself or judge myself any harsher than my abuser would beat myself. And knowing that the only thing that is truly required of me is that I try. And knowing that I am not the problem, I am the solution. And the self-love journey just never ends. There is so much pain wrapped up in this behavior. There's so much feeling of unacceptance, of rejection, of not being loved or never finding love or not existing with love. And there is no quick fix. It's just all dependent on you and your ability to truly go through it and experience all of the feelings that come along with going through it, and all of the pain that comes along with going through it, and all of the sadness. But knowing that once you go through it, that new sense of gratitude starts to arise. So to me, this is truly what it means to live a spiritual life and to go through healing. That you are so dedicated to living a full life that when you come across any shadows or any darkness inside of you, you don't run away from it. You confront it, because if you just leave it there, you can't live your life as fully as you want to. It's just not going to happen. And you have to fucking face it, and you have to own it, and you have to tell people about it, and you have to share it with the world, and you can't just suppress yourself anymore. You have to release what's going on inside of you. And I don't want anyone to suffer in the way that I've suffered. There's no need to suffer like this. It is so over for me, and it's so over for anyone else who comes into contact with me, because it's done. We're just so done with being that way. There is no need to suffer anymore. I remember I've always had this like deep wish that there was someone or something out there that when I was at the height of my depression and anxiety, that they would just hold me, and that all of my pain would just be taken away, that they would just release me from all of my suffering, and I could just be there and be at peace and be happy and not know any of the pain that I've known before. And I just realized that that's me. That is who I am for myself. I am here to hold myself down. I am here to take all of my pain and suffering away. I don't have to do this anymore. There's no reason for me to do this anymore. I have enough space in me for all of who I am. I can care for myself. I can listen to myself. I can heal myself. And I just want to add, there is no one to blame. I have no one to blame or to accuse of making me act this way. For me, this is my behavior. This is what I do. This is my responsibility. No one is at fault. I am simply the one who is in control now. That's it. So now I want to share a journal entry that I wrote about a week ago, and yeah. I really hope I get to see tomorrow. I am so excited for it. But regardless, I'm so grateful that I even get to have the opportunity to have such a beautiful day planned. My heart is bursting. It's so fucking beautiful. I can't believe that. We really do take everything for granted. Who says we'll make it to the beach? It's all in God's hands. I'm so glad to be here. I had a lot of full feelings today. Fullness of joy, fullness of nostalgia, fullness of gratitude. It's truly a miracle. I can't believe I'm just creating everything. The life I want is here and now. Whatever I need, whenever I need it, it will come to me as long as I pay attention. So much power. I'm ready to tap in. I'm ready to be all that I need to be to serve my purpose. I'm ready to channel Source's wisdom so that I can free everyone. May the children be free, for now and forever. Everything is so important. I will find balance in all of my choices. I will clear the way for my path to unfold. I know my calling. I am here to serve. All I need to do is pay attention. Sending so much love and hugs to you. Thank you everyone for being here. So yeah, this is this is how I journal like on the regular. Like this is how I talk to myself now. And I just hope that from this video you can see what is possible. This whole thing is still just so insane to me that I just came across something so massive and heavy in my life and something so awful and so painful that I would just accept as life. And I can't believe this is like literally how I talk to myself now. Like the difference is just, it's insane. It's insane. And I know all I can do now is to just show up every day, to show up for myself, to show up for my friends, to show up for love, to show up for kindness, to show up for courage, and to just try my best and try my hardest at everything that I do. You know, and I get to fill myself up with gratitude for everything that is, for all of the friends who listen, for the family that I have whose love is eternal, and just breathe loving compassion for myself from here on out, and to get the opportunity to create a whole new life for myself. Thank you all so much for watching. It just means so much to me that I get to just put this out there and allow people to see what's going on and how we can change our lives and how much power we have. It's like nothing else. If you are so inclined, please share the video with a friend or a loved one if it resonates with you, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. I am so ready to live this life so fully and to have a new life like I've never known. So thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye.